Welcome. The other day I was doing my 26th weekly invoice to my most loyal client. Thank you. And I realized it's been half a year. So there's a bit of a jump in the continuity for the video numbers, but bear with me. Like I said the whole way through, this is all still very new and a bit of an experiment, but I believe it's now sustainable. So thanks once again to all the people who've supported me, my beautiful family, the loyal customers, everyone from the Innovation Festival from the day we kicked off. We'll rip into the content in a second, but just before then, even if you don't watch the whole thing, at least watch this bit where I invite you and hope to see you at Friday in the Q building in Newcastle for our Hunter Innovation Festival Innovators Lunch, focusing on sovereign capability and supply chain issues. If you've worked in engineering in the past 5 or 6 years, you will understand why this is such a pain point and why it's so important for our nation to figure out how to bring some of this back to us. Now, I believe we're at the point where we're stable. If we can maintain the current customer level, keep everyone happy, I think this can continue as an ongoing adventure into all of the things that we list here. Everything can fund off the number of customers we've got now. So thank you very much to these people. I am having to get better at managing cash flow. So dollars in and out. In particular, the first BAS where I've been paying myself into the bucket has happened. So the first BAS statement, which includes pay-as-you-go tax, the accountant warned me that since I've started paying myself earlier this year, this was going to be a big one. And they're right. Yeah, make sure you keep some in the back pocket, everyone, if you're doing this, because in Australia, that will get you. And in particular, changes to super. Super is changing. Employers will need to pay on the same day as the employees get their money. So the same day this happens, this also has to happen. We have also made the purchase of the Autodesk PD&M collection. Luckily, because I had an existing subscription for Fusion, I haven't had to pay a full 12 months. So I've only had to pay 6 months worth of that to round off to the end of the current period of the Fusion subscription. So that also helps with this money in, money out. On the STEM side, we have had 2 workshops since the last video. We had our last one at East Maitland Public Library doing the speakers. And then we had our second event at MRAG doing busts. So a couple of points here. With the East Maitland Public Library one, I was only able to run that again because it was school holidays. And I think these are going to be school holidays only. The main reason is that I can't run these often. The cost to put it on, once again, dollars, the cost to put it on versus the number of students I can fit in that space means that this current event in those locations is not sustainable. So I don't see a way to even break even doing this, even though it's a fantastic course. The upfront materials and just the limitation of the space is a problem. So I might need to continue doing this, definitely, but look at a different space or upping the prices, which I don't think is the right answer because I'm already struggling to fill already. Now, the MRAG event, I've got a few photos which we'll run through. So let's do that. What you saw there was an introduction of some props to help speed it up. So we've got Play-Doh, we've got cardboard tubes. Unfortunately, I didn't want to do this, but it did work. I brought along some florist foam, so you've probably played with this stuff. It is not what we're going for, okay? It was just a test to see if the students could carve and shape something efficiently using a material like this. Now, I know that this is not the best solution. It just introduces a lot of mess and microplastics. So not going to use this going forwards, but it was a good experiment, I think. For if I can introduce a water-soluble material like this, if you know of one, let me know. I've got an idea of what to use, but have to see if I can make enough of it and have it last in between sessions. Okay, and then the other thing we had was I designed up a number of props which had deliberate draft angle built into them and these eyelets for tying off. This kind of worked. The nose I thought was particularly good because it's got good draft angle in all directions. When the student went to try to wrap this with the 3D pen, the plastic of the 3D pen is similar enough to PLA to stick to this. We tried using a release agent, which was like a powder spray, but it was still sticking. So that's not the right answer yet either. We need to look at maybe I print these out of a TPU and very thin. So once they're wrapped, you can just sort of squish them out. But this pulling idea was pretty good. You can put a fair bit of force on that. So definitely enough to pull it out of a final wrapped shape. I think the other thing I need to move away from is wrapping things with the 3D pens. It's too slow, and I feel like there's a more sustainable way to do that rather than introducing more plastics into it. So probably lean more on composite manufacture once they've made the plug out of something which is soluble. Look at wrapping it in something which is more like a composite. But the good news here is that MRAG are very happy with what we're doing. I'm happy with it. And I'd like to see students building something over more than just one session. So this is definitely locked in for the third Saturday of the month now. And I want to run that all the way through to at least October when we have our Hunter Innovation Festival. But I'd like to see it go through to the end of 2026. Something else interesting which might come out of that visit to Sydney a few weeks ago is one of the judges on my panel was involved with RoboGals. That's a program out of the University of New South Wales, and I am familiar with it. My sister-in-law was involved with it years ago. If we can do some sort of collaboration, then that's fantastic. I'm definitely down for it. So yeah, watch this space. We have our next Hunter Innovation Festival lunch this Friday coming up. This is a very interesting one and definitely in my wheelhouse. We're looking at sovereign capability and supply chain. And also, if you're a member of the Vibe Tribe last year at the festival, or the Advanced Manufacturing Action Group, I have been starting to reach out to people from this demographic, and I'll also start to send some messages to these people. But I'll be situated downstairs from fairly early on, probably say, let's say 10 o'clock from Friday. So if you'd like to come up and talk about either volunteering at the festival or helping throughout the year with our Advancing Manufacturing Action Group, then I'd love to talk about that on Friday. So I'll be there. I'll be working anyway. So come up and interrupt me and let's talk about these two things, which this will get more and more involved leading up to the festival. And this group should be running all the time. And I've been a bit slack, been a bit busy, but yeah, so this will kick off. And what we'll do is I'll try to make this 10 a.m. on the Friday of the Hunter Innovation Festival Innovators Lunch a regular deal for members of the Advancing Manufacturing Action Group. And I think if you're interested in this, you should definitely try to get to this particular lunch because this is really what we're pushing for. When we talk about sovereign capability and keeping up with our neighbours to the north, There is definitely a link here with the event I was doing at Sidecar, which I do want to keep going. That might move to a Sunday, because the good thing about that facility is it's open on a Sunday. And I'm very much interested in robotics. To keep up, we need to, as a nation, embrace robotics and automation. And so getting an early understanding of robots, the mechanisms of them, the limitations and the advantages of them, and then also the programming, which is what this would eventually lead into. So we're talking hardware and software. I know younger students are already probably better than me at this stuff, but I need to make sure that this is part of the discussion. And if we could start seeing small cobot arms being introduced into high schools, I think that would be a big step for the country. So I'll pester people about that. Okay, so like I said, we've made it to half a year, which is great. I think if we can make it to half a year, we can get through a first year's worth of end of financial year, then we're definitely going to make it. So thank you to everyone who's been backing me, all the customers, all the people from the Innovation Festival on launch day who encouraged me. I've remembered everything you've said this whole time, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you to my family for helping support me through this. I know it's been a change. This really works for me. The schedule is erratic, but honestly, so am I.